Actually, first of all, I didn't expect that I'm supposed to say a few words after Adi introduced me the first round. So anyway, I'm making up for lost time. So hi everyone, my name is Turner, and so I'm very happy and actually delighted to be invited to this Educators MeeTalk. So when I first met Antonius and team 2 years ago, right, it was by a chance occasion. Somebody recommended to Antonius. And then it was like 3 months before we actually met because our timings clashed. And when we first met, Antonius was telling me, are you going to be a vendor that's selling me a program? If not, please go away. Don't waste my time, you know? So I'm glad I managed to convince him that I'm not. And that's why we are still talking and I'm still here. So anyway, just let me move on. I know I'm aware of the time, so I'm keeping track of the time. And I'm pretty sure for all the teachers, COVID-19 has actually made all of us so good at technology that we should be given a master's for technology use, all right? So a little introduction about myself. So I've been a teacher or educator since 2006 actually. And then with the Ministry of Education in Singapore, then I was there for about 5 years. I got sick of the system. I went to do my master's. I came back, became a teacher again. And then 5 years, I got sick and I resigned again. And then I went to the private sector. And so what you can see here is my experiences actually in the last 5 years. I have actually progressed a little bit more into out of a classroom teacher, but I'm going more into professional development. I am very keen on helping the lower academic as well as the underprivileged children to seek employment in the new industry. And I think that these are the group of people that actually need help. So in my travels, I go to a lot of third world countries like Peru, Vietnam, and really just to speak to them is really a chore, listening to what they have to offer. And then when I do come back to Singapore, we are like, wow, we are taking many things for granted. So you can see that here I actually have a lot of icons, which is about my academic journey as a learner. I don't put it here to show off to everybody about where I've been and so on. But I just want to share with everyone is that I was very fortunate to have such an illustrious journey of education. But what is interesting is, to be honest, it doesn't really make sense at all in my work. It just opened doors. But then other than that, people are like, oh yeah, you're studying in this college. Wow, you're from here. Wow, you're from there. But at the end of the day, when you're trying to talk to people, they're like, nah, education stays the same, you know? So let me share a little short story. So recently, I saw my father. So my father is 65 years old this year. So I saw him teaching my nephew, which is 5 years old, right? So he was preparing stacks and stacks of assessment books. And then he was like, okay, now you got to read the book. Now you got to do math. Now you got to do science. Now you got to memorize idioms. Now you got to start reading. And then I went up to him and I said, hey, what are you doing? And he was like, yeah, I'm teaching my grandson. I said, yeah, but that's not the way to teach. You are actually just loading him with knowledge. You are treating him like a sponge. And then you're just telling him this is all the things that you want him to learn. And then after that, when he can produce whatever you want him to produce, and then you say, wow, he's a good student. So along the way, if he's not paying attention, he will get scolded. And then when he tries to ask question, my father will be like, shut up, don't ask question. Then my nephew will be like, I think, and then my father will say, you don't think. I tell you what to think. You don't think. You just listen to me. So it was this thing that I went up to my father and then I told him, I said, hey, look, what are you doing? You know, I'm trying so hard to change education. I'm trying to tell people that there's a new way of learning to engage the learners. And then you are telling me that, oh, all this is useless. So my dad's answer to me is very simple. I have 3 sons. All of them are graduates. So whatever I've done is successful. You can't say I'm wrong. I gave up. I just walked away. Okay, I gave up and I just walked away. Right. So anyway, let's get to the crux of today's talk, right? So today's talk is about problem solving as the big picture. And then we talk about innovation, initiative, and creativity. So what I've done is I've created a seesaw. On the left is content. On the right is competency. Now, to me, in my path of an academic, I think that innovation, initiative, and creativity are actually soft skills. They are necessary competencies that we need to inculcate in the learners, because in future, they need this to create problems and solutions. I'm sorry, maybe not create problems. They need to create new solutions to problems that have never existed before. So we think of them as creators. Whether they use technology or not, it is irregardless, right? Technology is just an enabler. So what is a misconception to me as an academic is that very, very many academics or teachers are actually looking at problem solving as just a content. When you teach them a subject, for example, problem solving is most frequently linked to mathematics. Simply by the word solve problems, that's mathematics, right? I gave you a word problem, you can solve the problem. Wow, you are a good problem solver. Okay, so I put there as content. We teach the children about what is addition, what is subtraction, multiplication, division, differentiation, integration. These are all content. We are teaching them how to use and solve problems with all these tools which are preset. But when you apply in a real life setting, do you think that the addition and subtraction numbers will always be there the same? So as an engineer, right, I have to calculate what is the amount of force that the building can take, that the soil can take if I want to build a building on top of the soil. And then we have to measure the amount of soil, we have to talk about the type of soil and so on. My university days never teach me, oh, Turner, this is marine clay. Marine clay can only do this. Or this is hard clay, you can only do this. We really have to go aside and then we have to innovate, we have to take initiative to even find out, is there different types of soil? Or is it only just one type? Or is there like, how many people do I want to stay in that building? Can it be for 10 stories, 20 stories, 30 stories? And then comes the creativity part, right? Would you want to build buildings that are 20 years old? The design is the same. How do you entice the people to actually spend money to look and upgrade to our new houses? And then after that, of course, it's innovation. When we talk about innovation, now we talk about smart homes. Well, when people come in, they put their finger on the lock. They no longer use a key. They just use a key lock, the digital lock. Or your TV, we are talking about smart TV, Google Wi-Fi, IoT, Internet of Things. Now, if there is no innovation, all this will never happen. We will still be living maybe as creatures of the wild. You really know, like living in caves, or we may even be living in maybe at the 1800s or the 1900s. So these are all necessary competencies to move us forward, right? Especially in Industry 4.0. So I'm going to ask a little question here. Look at this. I took this off a World Economic Forum chart, and I just identified 9 careers here. 3 of them is in red, 3 of them is in gray, and 3 of them is in green. So what is the difference between the red, the gray, and the green? Okay. Now, owing to the shortage of time, I'm just going to give you the answer straight. Now, the careers in the red line, these are what we call mundane jobs. These are jobs that are repeated over and over and over again, and they most likely can be replaced by technology very easily. Robots, for example, autonomous driving, right? Robots welding. I think we are all tuned to what is actually happening now in the world with IoT. What about those in gray? This is very interesting. So those in gray, they are in maybe or maybe not. So you think of a policeman, right? A policeman cannot be too creative. Imagine you tell him, okay, your number one rule is to save the people. And then he's like, okay, by saving the people, I kill all the bad people. That's being creative, right? That applies problem solving. But I think that brings out another problem because he's being the judge himself. So these are, I would say, these are areas where they would have to really toggle between the three skills of innovation, creativity, as well as initiative. Now, comes to the last part. I really love this part the best. Accountants, analysts, and computer scientists. So I am going to just use accountants, right? This is really for the joke. So accountants. Now, if we look at all the automated software out there, there are many software that can capture your spending, which is your credit and your debit. So this is what normally an accountant does. But what can a human do that supersedes a robot or a program is the fact that we can do creative accounting. So if you're all bosses of a company, what is the number one thing you want? I want to make money, right? As much as possible. What is the number two thing? I want to pay as less tax as possible, right? Come on. I mean, we all believe in that. So a robot can never do that. A robot will just file according to the rules, how many percent, and you're done. But if you're a human, you can, okay, maybe my deliverables, I can push it 6 months later. I can pay first and then I deliver 6 months later so that this year I don't make so much money and I pay less tax, right? So to me, this is the difference. Initiative, creativity. Okay, so, and I see all this, right, is really related to STEAM education, okay? Really because the traditional way of education, we are looking at content. But in the new world, we don't focus on content. I'm not saying that content is not important. What I'm trying to say is that in the new world, we need to teach them how to use the content. So we are going one level deeper. We are trying to tell them that, oh, all this information is now on the internet. How can we actually use it to suit us, to suit our needs, to solve problems? That's what we need. And of course, I took this off OECD. So why is there, what is happening in the world now? We talk about is a VUCA world. So we are three big changes: environmental, economic, and social. And VUCA stands for volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous. In short, every day new things are happening so fast that it's never the same like yesterday or the past 10 years. So we really need to think how we want to solve the problem in the best possible way to us. How we solve the same problem in Indonesia will definitely be different from how we solve the same problem in Singapore, in Taiwan, or even in Canada. It's really because of our culture. It's really because of the way and of our mindset and the way we see things, right? Okay, so I'm aware I have 3 more minutes. So Industry 4.0, now this is going to be a little challenging and mind-boggling for some, because I'm talking about a few things. We talk about knowledge, we talk about skills, we talk about attitudes and values. So knowledge, I think we all have, is just content. Skills is the part where we talk about the cognitive skills, we talk about the meta-cognitive skills, ability to think how to think, ability to relate to people, the social and emotional part. This is the part that sets us apart from robots, right? And then finally, attitude and values is the one that determines who you are, your principles. And that's really important when we talk about ethics, right? So I'm just going to end off with this. If there are educators in this room, there are 2 big groups as educators. When we are designing lessons, we talk about the concept, the content, and the topic. And the other end is we talk about the process. Now let's look at the one on the left first. Concept, content, and topic. These are things beyond us as educators. Why? Most of the time, this is already determined by the Ministry of Education, whether of the respective countries, wherever you are from. We cannot talk about the rigor. Wow, we cannot say the lesson is too long today, we want to shorten it. We can't. But what we can, as teachers, what we can take ownership is the fact that the process is owned by us. How we deliver the lesson, when we deliver the lesson? How do I engage the students? So that is really important to me as educator, because when you build a good relationship with your peers, with your students, right? This is where the whole bond learning exercise comes about. So I just want to end off with this. Educator is actually now in the new industry, we are going to be the agency of change. We should be the one that's driving change, really, because if we want to ensure that our students graduate and are able to find a job in the new industry, whether it is 4.0, 5.0, or whether I'm looking at the what they call the data transfer. Sorry, suddenly I can't remember. Now we are looking at the speed of data is going to be so fast, and things are going to change the way it's going to change our lives. So we need to drive this change first. Then our students are able to see where the change is coming from before they can adopt and embrace it. Now, I just want to end off with a little a link here. I've actually given this link or this article to Adit. He can share with all of you later. It's about why soft skills matter more than hard ones in the world today. So this is actually an article by Straits Times Singapore, and it is about how the changing values are coming with regards to the world needs or industry needs, as opposed to how education is looking at these needs. So feel free, we can talk more later if you are interested. Thank you so much.